The Black Loyalists are our ancestors. Formerly free Africans, they were enslaved and taken by force to the Americas. Most worked on plantations, cultivating and growing staple crops from which the wealth of nations grew. Without the tragic history of the transatlantic slave trade, there would be no Black Loyalists. Enslaved people were considered personal property or objects. Dehumanized by a system of forced labor, they were often subjected to violence and cruelty at the hands of their enslavers. American colonists were fed up with the British government for imposing taxes and laws that negatively affected them. Freedom, liberty, equality, and justice was the goal, but not for enslaved people. Talk of liberty and equality filled the homes, town halls, and streets of colonial America. The message of freedom spoke to the heart of enslaved Africans. It would be the British, however, desperate to teach the American rebels a lesson, who would offer freedom at a cost. Desert your masters, fight for the British king, and you would have your freedom. Black Loyalists participated in the war in various ways. They gathered intelligence, acted as guides, built fortifications, provided service to officers, engaged in armed combat, and acted as messengers. Their numbers included skilled artisans, tailors, cooks, sailors, and musicians. New York was the last British stronghold to the north during the war. Here gathered Loyalists, both black and white, who could no longer stay in the newly formed United States. For our Black Loyalist ancestors, this was a time of fear and uncertainty. American enslavers were entering New York to claim those they had previously enslaved. Over 2,800 Black Loyalists, their names recorded in the Book of Negroes, would depart from New York for Nova Scotia and other parts of the world. Many of our Black Loyalist ancestors had certificates of freedom from the British. Others were still enslaved. They had been captured by British forces or purchased by officers or were forcibly accompanying their Loyalist owners into exile from the war with the Americans. A large group of our Black Loyalist ancestors landed at Port Roseway, soon after renamed Shelburne at the southwest corner of Nova Scotia. Most of our ancestors lived in a community of their own called Birchtown. Located about 5 kilometers northwest of Shelburne, Birchtown was the largest free settlement of Africans in North America and a place of refuge for people of African descent escaping enslavement and difficult living conditions. Nova Scotia was not prepared for the arrival of so many people and could not provide adequate resources. Many arrived late in the fall and had no opportunity to clear land, build a home, or plant crops. They spent the winter in tents and makeshift huts in the thick woods. Others built pit homes, holes dug in the ground with a roof overhead. When the British government failed to fulfill the promises of land and a better life, the Black Loyalists turned to their community leaders. These leaders petitioned the government on behalf of their communities. Less than 10 years after they first arrived in Nova Scotia, many of our Black Loyalist ancestors had given up hope of fair treatment and were ready to leave. Many took the risk of an uncertain future in the hopes of providing a better life for their families. An overwhelming number of those who were free to go left. They went to Sierra Leone, and upon reaching Sierra Leone, the Nova Scotia Black Loyalists founded Freetown. The population of Birchtown shrank with the migration to Sierra Leone. Even so, those who remained formed the basis of the Black Nova Scotian population of today. Employment in the nearby town of Shelburne led many families to relocate in later years. Birchtown remained a small rural community of a few hundred who practiced farming, fishing, and forestry. We needed a place to safeguard our heritage. We needed a place for our community to gather. We needed a place where our visitors are welcome and where they can learn about our stories. It was a long time coming, but through the hard work and dedication of many supporters, we finally have a place of our own. It is a proud symbol of struggle by Black people everywhere for justice and dignity.